from Calgary, Canada. This is Hira, President of the Asian Student Society. We are proud to present our second Women in Neurosurgery Symposium organized by the Asian Congress of Neurological Surgeons. We have a good lineup of panelists from all over the world, and I would like to welcome the first speaker, Dr. Divya Palanisamy. She is the chairperson of the ACNS Women in Neurosurgery and a consultant neurosurgeon at Sri Narayan Hospital and Research Center in Tamil Nadu, India. I would hand over Dr. Divya for her presentation and let's begin. Thank you. Dr. Divya, please.
Hello, I am Dr. Divya Palanisamy from Tamil Nadu, India. Hira gave me the introduction. So actually, I'm going to show some slides. 1 minute. Hira, can you see this?
Yes.
Yes,
okay.
We can see this. Can you please put this on the slideshow mode?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I welcome you all for this wonderful evening to attend this second online Women in Neurosurgery Symposium. We had our first symposium on 14th of April 2018. So this online symposium as part of ACNS Student Society was proposed by Dr. Hira, and with her great effort, actually we are in the second online symposium. The first symposium was very successful, and we had 5 speakers: Dr. Isabella from US, and Dr. Nelsi from Brazil, and Dr. Sharon from Malaysia, and Dr. Selvin from Indonesia, and I also gave a talk, and it was watched by more than 600 people in the YouTube. So, and now we are in the second online symposium due to Hira's effort, and thanks to Hira. And so, like, why do we, what is the purpose?
Dr. Divya, you are muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes.
So I finished one slide. So shall I go back? Hello?
Yes, you can start on this one, the purpose.
Okay. So the purpose of starting this online symposium is to share the experiences of women neurosurgeons across the world and to create a good supportive network. Means we are minority in the neurosurgical field, women. So means it is to create a supportive network. So I'm not going to the next one. It's not going. I don't know.
You can
close. Yes. I got it. So if we take like the number of women neurosurgeons in every country, like in India, only 2.5% are women neurosurgeons, and in Japan and US, it is 5.5%. Approximately, and in UK and Ireland it is around 8%. In Europe it is 12%. So we are minority in every country. So how do we communicate? Like most of us during residency, after the residency, we are left with no female colleague in the department. So we lack the support from other women neurosurgeons who are really supportive to, means usually women are more supportive to other women. So by forming a forum or society in a country, like we are able to have a good communication, have a supportive network. But unfortunately, not every country has a women neurosurgery forum or society. Even if they have, actually they are not independent, means independent body, or they do not have a committee to act on their own. So like regarding the communication, like we conduct conferences, we attend the conferences. However, only few women attend the conferences, and the interaction among women neurosurgeons is also very less. The social media, WhatsApp, they are not complete mode of communication. So here comes the online symposium. Like it helps, means it aims to reach out every woman in the world, like who are enrolled into neurosurgical field, whether the one who wants to take up neurosurgery or the neurosurgical residents or anyone. Like this online symposium is the great mode. So like it's very helpful for young physicians who wants to take up neurosurgery as their career in future. Because when I was planning to take up neurosurgical residency, I was left with lots of doubts whether women are there in neurosurgery, whether they are able to cope up with neurosurgery, are they successful in their career after completion, or what about the male dominance? So many questions we had. And many of our physicians, they told like neurosurgical patients, they do not means even after surgery, they do not come out with good outcome. So what is the purpose of you taking neurosurgery? That's what most of the physicians I heard of. So I feel like we are giving very good results. Present neurosurgical practice, actually we are giving very good results, lots of improvements. So I think I was misguided before joining into residency. So this online symposium helps the young physicians who are all watching, it gives them some idea. It shows them, it exposes them to successful women neurosurgeons, and it is very positive. So I hope by seeing this program, many physicians take up neurosurgery. And for neurosurgical residents, it's very helpful because it's a kind of counseling they get. During residency, we feel like we are the one who are left with all these complications or means difficulties and all those things. But actually, there are many other women neurosurgeons, senior neurosurgeons, who faced lots of troubles, who were able to overcome means all these difficulties and become successful. So their experiences helps this neurosurgical residents to get motivated to pursue their residency and complete it successfully. So, and for young female neurosurgeons, it's a very good forum for them to show their research work and neurosurgical work. They can interact with the senior women neurosurgeons, and they can guide the youngsters also. For senior female neurosurgeons, I think it's Dr. Nelsie and Dr. Gail, they have to tell. I think for senior female neurosurgeons, it gives an opportunity for them to understand the feelings and expectations of young neurosurgeons and the residents, so in their departments. I think so, and it helps them to look back their residency and their difficulties, and it can help them to change the way it is now. So I think in every aspect, this is very beneficial. And whoever is watching, I encourage them to continue your support for this online symposium, and tell the others who are not watching this program about this program, and continue this. And we are also planning to start academic sessions, and we would like to have your feedback on what you expect, so that we can change, we can modify the program and make it better and better every time. So doctor, you can send your suggestions to Dr. Hira. So, and with this, I would like to inform you about the introduction of Women in Neurosurgery chapter of Asian Congress of Neurological Surgeons. Actually, we are going to start a chapter for women in neurosurgery. Professor Yoke Keto, the president of ACNS, she was instrumental in forming many neurosurgical associations. Everyone around the world knows about Professor Yoke Keto, and she's a role model for many women neurosurgeons. So she believes that women neurosurgeons need to have an organization, because we are minority, and I feel women has more potential to influence other women. So she believes in that, and she is starting this Women in Neurosurgery chapter, and the mission of creating a supportive network among women. We are starting with the Asian and Middle East countries, but we are going to expand in near future to every part of the world. And this supportive network actually helps us. We are minority, and in a country we are minority, but together actually we can form a big network, and we can help the other women neurosurgeons. And Indian women neurosurgeon can help the neurosurgeon from Africa or Indonesia, any place. So it's a very good supportive network. And the second mission is to identify the obstacles for progress of women in neurosurgery and eliminate the discriminatory practices. And we also have the mission to attract more women into the field of neurosurgery. So, and also for the growth of mentor and foster the growth of young female trainees, how to start about grants and all those things. So these are all the mission statements of ACNS WINS, and we are going to have the inauguration during the WFNS 2018 symposium, WINS symposium. Actually, it is planned for 19th of August 2018 at 10 a.m. So in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. So with this, I end my talk, and I welcome you all for this ACNS WINS program. So this online symposium is a step towards making neurosurgery easy for women. Thank you. So,
thank you so much, Dr. Divya.
Yeah,
it was a wonderful introduction, and thank you for conveying the message.
Okay.
With this, I would like to add that we are starting a directory for women in neurosurgery, and I suppose you all must have received the link to the website where they can all register. Since we have a lot of seniors with us, its impact will be large if you convey this message to all your residents, fellows, even students who are enrolling into neurosurgery, especially females. If they could just log on and register themselves so that we have a directory of all the neurosurgeons, females, around the world. This is a global directory, and this is the only way to have them together under one roof. So I would like to thank Dr. Divya, and any questions, comments, anything from the panel, please, you're welcome. Dr. Gail, you're unmute. You have to unmute.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, very nice introduction. I applaud you for all of your efforts, and I want to reinforce the fact that I will be with you on August 19th in Kuala Lumpur.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Gail.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Nelsie. So we want all these women to participate. May not be this time, may not all can attend this time. So next year we'll plan in advance, and we would like to have all of you and all your support. So Professor Keto, she must be very happy to see this.
Okay.
So with this, shall I
we have Dr. Gail with us. She's the next speaker. Okay, I would like to introduce Dr. Gail Rozo to the panelists. Dr. Gail is the chairman of the World Federation of Neurological Surgeons, WHO Licensing Committee. She's also the member of the WFNS Foundation and has been the former vice president of the American Association of Neurological Surgeons. She is with us from Chicago, and I'm thankful to her for joining us for this event. Her topic is what she has learned through the neurosurgical career, and it's a very important topic to have spoken about. May I please welcome Dr. Gail to please take up the presentation. Thank you. You have to unmute, Dr. Gail.
Oh, unmute. Thank you very much,
Yes.
Shira. That's great. And I want to share my slides. Let me say to everyone, I think Hira is wonderful. She taught me about Zoom yesterday. I know GoToMeeting, I'm learning Zoom. So I'd like to share my slides. And I'm not sure that's doing it. Hira, you have my slides. Would you like to put them up or maybe walk me through the process here?
Are you able to do it from your laptop? If not, then I can put it.
When I share, it seems to unmute me or to mute me. Let's see.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure why.
Could you just share it again and we can unmute you from the direct setting?
So I'm sharing my desktop there, but I want to share the slides.
Yeah, you're here.
Okay.
Yes.
So bear with me. Thank you. Let me just bring up the slides then. Is that working for you now? Perfect. Okay,
That's
great.
perfect.
Thank you. Well, let me start out by saying it is an absolute pleasure to be part of this webinar. I congratulate Hira for organizing it. I'd like to thank John Bennett for giving us access to Neurosurgical TV, and thank all of my friends, old and new, who are on this program. In speaking with Hira about what might be appropriate for the webinar today, it seemed to me that perhaps sharing some of the things that I've learned over the course of the last 25 years as a neurosurgeon might be useful. She agreed. So this is a fairly unusual and personal talk that I'm sharing with the women in neurosurgery globally, and I hope it will stimulate some discussion now and in the future, some reflection, and increase the strength of our bond. So this is a few thoughts about what I've learned during a neurosurgical career. As I said, it's quite a personal talk, and I'm sharing with you some of my favorite pictures here of my favorite city of Chicago. So I like to organize by 3. So the first thing I'll say is at this point, 25 years into practice, what's important are what I call the 3 F's: faith, family, friends, and being a physician. And those are the same things that motivated me early on. And by speaking about these things first, they're the bedrock of my career, but I think that they also help us stay centered in a profession that is very demanding and can draw all of our attention and energy. So first of all, faith, and I don't mean in any way to imply that I'm some type of spiritual holy roller. I really am not. However, what I have found about neurosurgery that is stronger, I believe, in our profession than in any other is the connection of what we do to the existential, sort of spiritual nature of people. It just is part of our daily practice to have very meaningful conversations, primarily with our patients, but also with other caregivers on the healthcare team, about really important things like coping with disability and death. And so as a result, I think that in order to be a good neurosurgeon, we need to have thought about these things and in many cases have some understanding of multiple types of religious faith or spirituality. And to this end, I would just say that Madeleine Albright, whose book is pictured on your upper left, echoes this. She's written a very extraordinary book called The Mighty and the Almighty. I recommend it to you because in this book, she talks about how important it is to be, if one is a leader in the world today, to be familiar with the major world religions. And she says this because so many sources of human activity, for good or for bad, including wars, as we all know, are based on misunderstandings about religion. And so I think that it's quite important for us who are in the trenches dealing with patients on a day-to-day basis to be familiar with the basic tenets of the spirituality of those patients we're dealing for and with, so that we can best help them. So that's been something that I didn't realize when I went into neurosurgery, but I do think it's important, particularly in our field. The next thing is family. And, we all know about how neurosurgery can take up 110% of our time. And yet to have that emotional and spiritual rudder that gets us through, we need, I believe, to be sure that our family knows that even in those times when we can't be with them, they are always first in our hearts. And so my own experience in neurosurgery of the last going on 3 decades has been that those who are the most successful neurosurgeons in caring for their own patients also care for their families. So I'll just share with you these people. Let's see if I've got a pointer. My wonderful husband, Rick, who's an orthopedic surgeon. My daughter, Natalie, who is a first-year medical student in Washington, D.C. And this big guy, Brendan, who is a football player and also an astronomy and economics major. And my wonderful parents, both alive, doing well, and just inspired to dance in my living room after dinner last week, and a host of others. So there is a tendency in medicine to say the work has to always come first, and certainly when someone is in urgent need of our services, it must come first. However, we want our families to know that in our hearts, they are always first. And then finally, a passion for one's career as a physician. And it was clear to me from fairly early on that I just couldn't stop reading about neuroscience. Even on the beach, I wanted to be reading Journal of Neurosurgery. So I love what we all do. I love the study of the brain. And that passion is, I think, important because there are a lot of other fun things missed in order to be able to do our job and to prepare for doing our job well. So identifying that that's a passion, I think, is really important early on when making the choice of neurosurgery as a career. So next, I'd like to share with you all things that what I know now that I didn't know then, things about neurosurgery that I've learned that have only come in the course of practicing neurosurgery. And these are the global nature of the work. The group around this table participating in this webinar is a perfect example of that. Also, the value of foreign language and the importance of history. So in terms of the global nature of the work, you know, when I was a medical student, I was very drawn to neuroscience, but I also just was fascinated by the world, as you all are. And I was concerned that an all-consuming career such as neurosurgery would limit my ability to be able to travel and see the world and learn about the world. And what I'm happy to report now, 25 years in, is not only is that not true, but that in fact, global neurosurgery is essential, and travel is essential to staying at the top of our game. We're just a small enough field that in order to be at the top of the field, you simply have to know what's going on everywhere, because it's important, especially for North Americans, to know what is essential, new, and potentially paradigm changing in neurosurgery. May not come from Boston anymore. It may come from Bangalore, may come from Beijing. And so if our goal when we get up every day is to do the very best for our patients, that means that we have to be aware of what's going on in neurosurgery around the world, and we need to have the ability to connect with those who are pushing the frontier, making neurosurgery safer and better for our patients. So what this slide shows are just 3 of my own Facebook postings from this year of times when I visited colleagues outside the United States because of work we were doing together that is essential for me to be able to bring my best game to my patients, my residents, my medical students. So on the left, you see Francesco D'Ameco and Alessandro Perrin, who are running the wonderful simulation lab in Milan at Carlo Bestis University. What they're doing is essential both for top-end state-of-the-art neurosurgery, as well as being able to make neurosurgical training available in low and middle income countries. In the middle, you see my good friend Carl Schaller and the wonderful simulation lab he has in Geneva, which he is using to advance neurosurgical and other multidisciplinary training, and with whom we'll be working more as we start offering courses in humanitarian surgery. And you'll hear more about that in future webinars. And then finally, up in the corner, my very close friend, Marc Levivier, who is working on a program for making radiosurgery more widely available in low and middle income countries. And he's working, pictured there, with a global team. So he's working in Lausanne, where he's the chairman, but the 2 members of his team pictured are from Serbia and Cote d'Ivoire. So just another example of how global neurosurgery is. We need the best minds from everywhere to advance our field. And then the next thing I'd like to speak about that surely will resonate with all of you is the value of speaking a foreign language. Now, I'm quite aware that I think on this panel, I may be the only one who speaks English as my first and native language. And I'm in great admiration of everyone who participates in neurosurgery in English when it's their second language. I think it's essential. I think it's especially important for people in North America, like myself, who are very spoiled because so many of the neurosurgical resources are available in English, like this webinar. But I would encourage everyone to speak a second language. I think it's important maybe even essential to develop a broad worldview. For myself, as a high school student, I just got interested in French and chose French to be my second language. And it's enhanced my neurosurgical career enormously. Just earlier this year, I spoke at the French Neurosurgical Society meeting. I did part of my training there. I was on the board of directors of the French Society for 6 years, and it's enhanced my life immeasurably to be able to communicate about neurosurgical topics in a different language. It's also enhanced the lives of my family. From Chicago, my children attended elementary school at the Lycée Français de Chicago, and that's enhanced their lives now that the next generation, my daughter is in medicine, my son is in astronomy. But I think the point I'm making is that being able to be global both in person and in language is important. And then finally, history. I happen to be a great devotee of Winston Churchill. I share a birthday with him and have been fascinated by him my entire life, and am very involved in professional historical circles around his life and work. It doesn't have to be Churchill or even history, but I will say to this group of women that having an interest that is shared by many of one's male colleagues is very helpful, particularly in the social aspect of the many meetings that we go to. So whether it's history or sports or some other thing that tends to be a more male-focused interest, I would encourage you to follow your own path, but if it can be a path that both resonates with you and male colleagues, you'll just enjoy yourself so much more, and it may create opportunities that you would never have dreamed of. And then the final aspect of what I want to speak about are these three things. Mentorship, being a champion, the power of kindness, and enthusiasm for both the future and for what we do every day. Now, many of you have benefited from and become mentors. I think this is really important. And I want to remind the younger people that you are already able to be mentors to medical students and high school students and little boys and girls who want to get into medicine. We can all be mentors, and we can all be role models. As I get older, however, I'm also interested increasingly in the opportunity to become a champion, and that is beyond mentorship. So if mentorship is inviting a younger person for coffee and helping them to understand what they might be able to do or know the ropes in neurosurgery, championship is actually putting some of one's own political capital on the line for others. So it's going beyond that coffee with the younger person, but then after the coffee, picking up the phone and calling a colleague and saying, I want to tell you about Hira. She is absolutely spectacular, and we need to get her involved, in our next symposium or whatever. So championship and mentorship at every level, I think, is very important, and satisfying for the helper as well as the helpee. The next thing, and I'm so glad that this is an important element in neurosurgery, is this concept best expressed by the poet Maya Angelou, who said, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And this is really true in neurosurgery. We need to have stamina, which requires being tough, but that does not negate being kind. And kindness is appreciated by patients, by medical students, by residents, by one's own colleagues. And we need to remember that, and we need to model it. It will make our neurosurgical community a better place. And then finally, I just want to share how much I enjoy being with people like all of you who are enthusiastic both about the future of neurosurgery and about the beauty in every day. I'm very excited about the future of global neurosurgery, and I think Hera is planning a future webinar where we may be able to speak more about that. But there's great opportunities for everyone to get involved in this rapidly expanding and growing subspecialty we call global neurosurgery, and I would invite anyone interested to contact me about that. And then I also think it's important to enjoy the everyday, like these photos taken, from my kitchen window. It just is enhancing our lives to be able to appreciate the beauty of everyday life, the beauty of the things our patients say to us and teach us, and what we learn from one another. And with that, I'll close and say thank you very much for this honor and privilege of being with you this morning.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rozo. It was a pleasure to know about your journey and your experience, personal experience. And I believe we will have some comments and from the panel, if anyone would like to ask anything from her or anything, any questions, any comments?
Congratulations, Gail. It's fantastic job. You're always inspiring us to be not only a good neurosurgeon, but be a good human being. And you always is emotional, and it's fantastic. Congratulations. It's a privilege to have you a friend and close to us. Thanks to encourage all of us to be the best we can do and we can find. Thanks.
Thank you, Nelsie. You're one of my inspirations.
I have a question.
So I wish just to, sorry.
I have a question.
Okay, please.
So Gail, in this moment when you are trying to become a champion, who you probably already are, what has been the political price for doing that? What you needed to pay from politically with your colleagues in order to try to impose your point of view?
Well, in champion, we're speaking about being the champion of another individual.
Or trying to establish, your own line of beliefs.
Yes.
That are against the standard of beliefs or the standard of care or the standards in our society or our neurosurgical societies.
Yeah. But, all of us have had a lot of academic training, and I try to come to some of these, what I might call more touchy-feely issues with data and with an academic background. So if one is championing an individual, if I'm making the case for why I think it's important for Dr. X, a young female doctor, to be invited to speak on a platform in a program, or be invited to co-author a paper or to be a co-investigator in a study, one has to come to that having done one's homework. So in championing someone, you have to be selective and be sure that you have the correct information, that the person you're putting forward has a background of experience or publications or talks in the past, so that you know that you can predict from their past performance that they will excel in the future. This is the way women in neurosurgery at the AANS and CNS have developed our speakers platform. We circulate a list where women who are able to put down those topics upon which they feel they can speak with expertise, and then they also list why they have expertise, why they should be considered experts. So that includes what publications do you have on this, what previous talks have you given, or what is your clinical experience. Maybe you do 300 of these kinds of cases a year. Those three types of areas give you the gravitas to be able to champion someone to move them to the next level professionally and academically. In terms of other initiatives, say one wants to launch a new program, a new initiative within one's own society, then it's important to both have done your homework about what the other similar projects are. If there isn't, why isn't there one, and have there been problems in the past? And also just knowing the rules and regulations of your society so that you work through the proper channels. It may be that you start with committee work before you go to the president of the organization with your channel, with your initiative. So again, centering what one wants to do for individuals or programmatically within the context of expertise and following established infrastructure, I think is important.
Thank you. I think that's a very important point for mentorship, especially the younger neurosurgeons and the not so young neurosurgeons. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Dr. Zulma, can you please introduce yourself to the panel because we have not been introduced to you yet?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I did it early. I'm Zulma Torres-Pinoza. I'm actually Associate Professor of Neurosurgery, Pediatrics, and Neurology. I work in Syracuse, New York. But I train in South America, Israel, in Canada. I'm also happen to be the, with NELSI, we are the committee for liaison committee for the International Society for Pediatric Neurosurgery. I'm a pediatric neurosurgeon, but I also happen to be the associate dean of the diversity and inclusion in my College of Medicine at SUNY. And at the same time, we have been thinking on creating a survey for the same related issues about the gender discrepancies in academic practice for female pediatric neurosurgeons, not only here in the United States, but also around the world.
Okay, thank you. And it will be great to have you with us in the next symposium. I will invite you for this.
Thank you very much. That's so kind of you.
I would like to have your contact and email address. If you can, I can just send you an invitation for the next upcoming symposium. It will be good to have you with us.
I will appreciate to join everything. Thank you very much.
Okay, we have another panelist, Dr. Ailim Okul. Could you please introduce yourself to all of us? You're muted. You have to unmute, please.
Good morning, all.
Hey.
Hi, I came a little bit late, but I didn't miss the important parts of the first two presentation. My name is Eylem Öcal. I'm from United States. I live in Arkansas, and I'm a pediatric neurosurgeon. I am an associate professor, and I'm happy to be the friends of Zulma and Nelsie. They've been my mentors through ISPN, International Society of Pediatric Neurosurgery, and also the American section of Pediatric Neurosurgery. I am the liaison to ISPN from the section of Pediatric Neurosurgery. And then hopefully we will work together to make our field a better and a more nourishing place for our female residents, female medical students, and female young faculty. Thank you for having me.
John, we have Dr. Anila Darbar with us. Could you please put her on the panel because she's online?
Dr. Gail, thank you for your great talk. It was really inspirational. Means for young neurosurgeons like us. Thank you.
We have the next speaker, Dr. Anila Darbar. She's here with us, and I will have to promote her on the panel. So that just give me a few moments. This is what happens when you are on an online platform. So there are some glitches always there.
While we're waiting, I might say hello to Suad.
Okay, there she is.
There we go. Maybe
Okay.
you can mention Abuja at some point.
All right. So we have other panelists as well. So, hello. Okay, so without further delay, let me introduce you to Dr. Anila Darbar. She is the Diplomat American Board of Neurosurgery, Chairperson of Women in Neurosurgery in Pakistan. She's the Program Director of Neurosurgical Training and an Associate Professor and a Consultant Neurosurgeon at the Aga Khan University Hospital in Pakistan. She's one of the pioneers of neurosurgery, females in neurosurgery in Pakistan. I would like to welcome Dr. Anila. She would like to talk on the current status of neurosurgical training in Pakistan with a special focus on females. It's all yours, Dr. Anila. Please start. You're muted. You have to unmute, please. Okay, we cannot hear you well. No, we cannot hear you. No, it's muted again. You have to unmute. No, we cannot hear you now. Are you using a microphone or your settings? Perhaps you need to check on your settings, your audio settings. We cannot hear. Can any one of you hear her?
No.
No one can hear you actually. You need to set it. Can you use a microphone? Do you have a microphone with you? A headphone? Can you hear us? Okay. Just a second. Can you change your settings to the system settings? Mm-hmm.
Just try to speak. Maybe you are on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we cannot hear you.
Okay.
No.
Anila, if you use a earpiece, maybe we can hear you because it has a little microphone.
Maybe microphone function blocked in laptop. Maybe you can to unblock microphone on laptop, and after that we can listen what you say.
Or maybe I can put her on call and she can, go on a loudspeaker and we can continue with this. Hello, Dr. Neela, can you hear us? I think you have to leave the meeting and come online again. Okay, try that. Okay.
Welcome, Sawat. Hi. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you also. How are you, Nancy?
Excellent. Great.
Wonderful web.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Hira, may I say a few words about Anila?
Of course, please.
So I met her a few years ago, but I think she's one of the very courageous women, female neurosurgeons, to be specific, that I've seen. Because she had her training here in the United States, and she went back to Pakistan to serve in her home country, and then to be able to actually help her patients there, Pakistani patients, and then as well as the neurosurgeons, female medical students and residents who would want to be neurosurgeons there. So I really, really appreciate the work that she does. I really, I'm envious of her courage, and I just wanted to mention that she's, I think, one of the great young, junior female neurosurgeons. She's not a junior anymore, but she's great.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I have seen her. I'm one of. I have rotated with her, and I've seen her, and it's amazing to have such inspirations in Pakistan, considering that the opportunities here for females are very low.
Mm-hmm.
But she's opening the gateways for females in neurosurgery, and she's doing a wonderful job here.
Yeah.
So I think until she fixes we step on to the next speaker. We have Dr. Svitlana Litvak with us. I'm sorry if I mispronounce your name, but
No, it's okay.
Okay, so she's the head of vascular department at the State Institution and Neurosurgery Institute at the National Academy of Medical Sciences of Ukraine. She will speak about the Ukrainian neurosurgery, past, present, and future. Okay, Dr. Neera is online again, but I think just let me. Okay, we start with yours first, and then we can have Dr. Neera. So, Dr. Litvak, can you please begin with your presentation?
Okay. I want to say thank you, all of us, because I have the best opportunity to come to that Congress. And I think I first Ukrainian neurosurgeon from women who can introduce my country on the World Congress in Women. And now I want to show you some presentation about neurosurgery situation in my country. And I think after my presentation, you can understand what's happened with Ukrainian neurosurgery and what are the part of women in Ukrainian neurosurgery society and why that situation happened. Do you see my presentation now? Are you see my presentation?
Yes, we can see your presentation. Put it on a screen slideshow, please.
Yes, I will show you a map of my country. My country was one of the part of USSR, and it's one of the reason what's happened of population in Ukraine. Population in Ukraine have 3 times.
Sorry to interrupt, Professor Litvak. Can you put this on a slideshow so that we can view it better?
Do you see that?
We see that, but can you put this on a slideshow mode?
Show mode?
Yeah, slideshow.
Slideshow?
Yes.
Just a moment, okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Okay, it's map of Ukraine. It's a situation by now, and before that time we was part of USSR, and USSR have 3 times where Ukrainian population was decreased. It's one part near the first world period war, and second time it was a difficult situation for Ukrainian population because Ukrainian people don't want to be one of the part USSR, and that period was like like a war inside my country, and population was decreased. And third time, it's time or Second World War, and the territory of Ukraine was one of the biggest loss of population for USSR and of course of Ukrainian people. After USSR stopped, we have one situation. Before that, we have one difficult situation for Chernobyl problem, and after that, all of that problem is problem of Ukrainian population. Now we have a difficult situation about war inside my country, and it's one of the reasons why population decrease and why special men part of population lost. And now we have more women in social activity like men. And sex pyramid of population in Ukraine, now we have unbalanced, and we have more women like men. And now situation, women population decrease like men population. It's one of the reasons why we need to realize all program of sociality program special for women population now. Demographic situation now in Ukraine not okay because population not decrease. Women activity is so high for all part of social activity, and one of the bad point of that, we don't have a lot of pediatric population in Ukraine. This is administrative division in Ukraine. Kiev on the center of Ukraine. That part of Ukraine, western part, now have some problem with Russia, and in that territory we lost men every day. This is language and nationality of Ukraine. Mostly in Ukraine, who live in Ukraine is Ukrainian person, and the second part is a Russian person. And typically for Ukrainian populations, bilingual system, we have talk for two mother language, Ukrainian and Russia or Ukrainian. All of us can speak two languages or more. Religion in Ukraine, mostly in Ukraine, is Catholic or Orthodox Christian. It's one of the reasons why women want to stay at home and care about a child and don't think about really social activity. It's one of the religion and cultural situation in Ukraine. Ukrainian was involved in urbanization in USSR period, and before that we was agriculture country, and after we was part of USSR, urbanization program was started. Now after that we have some bad ecological and radiation problem, because after problem with Chernobyl station, all of the territory in Ukraine have a problem with the radiation situation. After that we have another result for human health. We have a somatic effect and a genetic effect. And I work in vascular department in Kiev, in central stroke center of the Ukraine, and we have a lot of cases of AVM in child and some problem like arterial aneurysm in pediatric population. We don't have that statistic before Chernobyl station problem. Of course, we have another situation for health in Ukraine, we have very high risk of high blood pressure, because one of that is smoking. It's a typical stereotype of behavior, because people like eat fat food, sweet food, and after that, of course, we have some situation about high blood pressure, about diabetes, and of course, one of the most big problem and cardiovascular disease in Ukraine. Ukrainian like smoking is bad situation, but we had that. What about cardiovascular disease? It's really first and biggest problem for health in Ukrainian population. Cerebral vascular disease on the second place of that. We have increased cancer tried for after Chernobyl problems in children and for adult category of our patients. Of course, mostly of that people, it's young people, and of course, it's bad population result, bad social result, because all of that patient care one of the person of family that patient, and we lost patient and lost one of the family because that person cannot work, and they only care about one of the family who had the disease. Stroke.
I am not hearing Hira.
I think she
Okay.
Muted.
Yes, malformations, neurological endocrine disease increase now, and after Chernobyl problem, and for that period it increased. Excuse me. Of course, a structure of health system in Ukraine. Ministry of Health is a first part to control situation, and National Academy of Medical Science of Ukraine have some central place to care, special our institution controlled by National Academy and Ministry of Health. We have some part of Ministry of Health, and high medical institution in Ukraine. We have 60, and medical postgraduate academy too, and state institution of Ministry of Health, and central place who can change the protocol how to treat some disease as in Ukraine. How to become a neurosurgeon in Ukraine? We can see it's very, very long period. It's one of the reasons why it's a big problem how to invite women to that professional, because traditionally in Ukraine, women thinks about family, and it's not so big period when they can get to married. And if they move to some professional where they can spend a lot of time to have a good salary, they lost the chance to become to marriage and have family. It's one of the social problem, and we think about how we can invite the women to our professional. Another reason, it's time. It's very long time. It's for women and for men, and we cannot find a lot of person, not especially women, to our specialties. What about a scientist degree, and maybe we have invited that person to neuroscience? It's very long steps too, and we have PhD program and Doctor of Science, and we have special academic title that person not treat patients, but they can teach National Academy of Medical Science, our institution is part of the National Academy of Medical Science. It's a central place where where we teach the person who want to be a neurosurgeon. About institution, is central place, and most of the neurosurgery operation in Ukraine prepare in our institution. It's pediatric case, vascular case, and oncology case. And we have some structure of institution. I don't spend a lot of time to show you. You can see that on the site of our institution. It's my teacher, and he creates a second vascular department at our institution, because one department is not enough for all Ukraine. And now we move to create the stroke center on our department. Our institution has scientific research activity, organization activity, training, and publish activity. Now in Ukraine we have only not more like 800 neurosurgeons. It's not enough for Ukraine, and only 5%, near 5%, it's women. Now it is decreased, because 5 years ago we have only 25 neurosurgeons for all Ukraine, and most of them work in our institution. And now we can decrease this number, and we work about that. Result, for my opinion, I think we have to different part how to change situation. One of that is politics, because we have only 20% women in politics in Ukraine, and to change the social meanings about that, okay, of course we have to talk with women politics, and maybe change social situation, social view about that profession. Another factor, of course, it's a factor to how we can organize the time of young neurosurgeon who want to be successful in neurosurgery profession, but they of course want to be successful in his life. And I think we have to organize some teaching program that can help these women to be a neurosurgeon but be successful in this regular life. And of course we need more doctors in neurosurgery, doctors too, because it's not enough. And demographic situation in Ukraine needs to invite more women in our professional. And I think collaboration with World Federation will be help us to improve this idea and increasing of number of neurosurgery and women neurosurgery in Ukraine. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Litwak. It was a pleasure to know the situation in Ukraine, and this was the first time we have had any speaker from this region. I'm glad that you joined us. Any questions, comments? Do we have any new panelists?
Well, this is Gail, and I would just like to thank Svetlana. That was excellent. I really, really enjoyed it. I learned a lot. It's just striking that or what strikes me about it is the combination of world history with your own profession, with the Chernobyl disaster and what that has meant for the different number and type of pediatric neurosurgical patients in your region. It's very interesting. I commend you for a great, great overview. I hope that you will present that at other global meetings. The rest of the world of neurosurgeons would love to see what you have to present.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Dr. Divya, would you like to add something to this?
Dr. Litwak, thank you for the great talk. Means it's about history. It's very interesting to know about Ukraine history. And you were telling about some cancer in Trivandrum Means I didn't understand that. Means which place you meant? We have what Trivandrum in India, so that's why.
I don't understand correct your questions. What you asked me to answer yesterday.
In one of your slides, you showed Trivandrum, cancer rate in Trivandrum or something you wrote. Trivandrum.
Okay. After a Chernobyl problem, we had increase all type of cancer. But we think by prognose that it will be increase and get plateau. But now we didn't see that. We see every year increase that rate, and now we didn't see the plateau of that. And after that, we see increase the malformation. Before that, we saw only increase the cancer disease. Now we see increase the malformation, and it's a very big problem because vascular malformation not a typical problem for Ukrainian population. Maybe in Asia it's more important problem, but now we have same situation about AVMs and about arterial aneurysm for children and for young adult person.
It's an interesting data. Thank you.
Congratulations, Svetlana. Maybe the world need to know this data, because we need to be aware it's the human being problem, it's not Ukrainian problem. And we need to do some investment in nuclear energy. And we almost forget what happened. Maybe we need to talk about the subject more times, even neurosurgery. Maybe in the global issue, we need to help other countries don't go in and try to find out other ecological source or renewal source without spending life and generation maybe with this consequence of human being act. Is not nature act, is human being intervention. We need to choose, and thanks a lot to be so clear about the consequence in timeline. It's fantastic. No, it's sad for one side, but we need to know the truth need to come out.
Oh, thank you very much about your interest, because it's really unpopular information. Our government don't want to talk a lot about that.
Maybe it's a hidden information. So
not economical issue, it's political issue. But if we have a parallel in medicine, in neurosurgery, we almost show out the best part of our work, the best case, the best results, because maybe the human being are not humble enough. We are not humble enough to learn about our mistake more than about our success acts. Okay. You are showing us. Thanks a lot to be brave in this subject.
So in India, in my state, actually there are a lot of atomic plants implanted. So actually we are really worried about how they are taking care of the nuclear waste and all those things. So really we are worried about, but this data is very interesting. So thank you for the data.
I want to make comment about this fantastic presentation, because she shows us that even if we are in the same area, geographic area, the problems are very different. They are very different because these problems and these issues of environment, and so maybe all these problems of Ukraine can be also an experience for all the other countries. And I think that the trend that we should have in neurosurgery is that every country can show us what what it is doing in different diseases with the tools of the country. And I'm sure that even with the problems of Ukraine, they have tools and they have find solutions that we can use also in other countries. So I'm totally agree with Gail. This presentation, this kind of presentation should be given more and more in meetings in global neurosurgery, because all of us can have this experience and can find solutions for some problems that we are confronted to. Thank you so much.
Svetlana, spasiba. I totally agree with all of you. Certainly, there is always a concern to get involved into the political part of that, but I think this is indeed a real problem of, it's a real health problem, and this forum has the power to transform this in a powerful global health issue and present this in a scientific way to the medical world, and create and try to influence some policies that can avoid this from further happening in the future. It's very concerning when you say that you haven't seen the plateau of these of the consequences of the radiation yet. And I wonder what different other types of tumors or different pathologies are we still going to find even 20 years after.
All right, any more comments? I think we proceed to the next presentation. We have Dr. Anila Darbar with us. Can you get off the screenshot, please, Dr. Svetlana?
Oh, okay. I close.
Okay. So, Dr. Anila Darbar, I think, can we test if your audio is working? No, it's not working again. No, we cannot hear you. I think you have to fix the settings from your laptop, that it has to detect the laptop's microphone. Or maybe it is possible that you can do it on we can put you on a loudspeaker through my phone, and then you can continue with the presentation. Will that be fine? Yeah? Okay, so let's start with it. Okay, just a second. Just give me a minute. Okay.
Hello?
Okay, just a second. Dr. Anila, you have to mute yourself first. Yeah, now speak. Yeah, now speak now. Can everyone hear her?
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Now?
Hello?
No, it's not working. It's somehow not working. Hello? Okay, so I think we'll have to fix this. So we proceed with the next speaker, Dr. Afnan Usman Al-Kutani. She is here with us. Dr. Afnan is a neurological chief resident at King Faisal Specialist Hospital and Research Center in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. I had the pleasure of meeting her in person back at the CFN Review Conference in Jubail. And she's an amazing person and very good motivation for young neurosurgeons. She will talk about the situation of female neurosurgeons in Saudi Arabia. So, Dr. Afnan, this is all yours, please.
Hi. Hi, everybody. How are you, Hira?
Hi,
Thank you for this invitation. Actually, I first want to thank the WINS members to give me this chance to present in Saudi women in neurosurgery. Actually, I'm still that junior among those great consultants. I'm only a sixth year neurosurgery resident, my final year at the Saudi Arabian Residency Board. Actually, when Hira asked me to talk about women in neurosurgery at Saudi Arabia, I was puzzled with my ideas. I don't have a strong statistics yet. So I decided to talk about my humble experience as a neurosurgery resident, my personal story, and as I have fully trained in inside Saudi Arabia. I had some electives outside, but finally I'm a Saudi neurosurgeon. Still in the residency level, and we have a big revolution in Saudi Arabia, actually in all aspects. So I would like to share with you my presentation. Share screen. Okay. Yeah, 1 minute only. I think you can see it now.
Yes.
All right. So it's all about being a neurosurgery female in Saudi Arabia. As we all know that Saudi Arabia is a Muslim country with 33 million citizens, and it has that conservative atmosphere with so being a doctor inside Saudi Arabia is a bit challenging, and it was like my big ambition to be a pioneer in medicine, medical field. So my journey started from King Abdulaziz University Hospital, from King Abdulaziz University in general at Medical and Surgical College. We have training of total of 6 years in medicine and followed by internship. And then I had applied for the neurosurgery residency program. It was very challenging to get accepted in this program, but with the help of my parents, friends, and teachers as well, it happened. Actually, the neurosurgery specialty started to pop off into my mind when I was doing my voluntary work during Hajj and Umrah seasons. We were treating some patients with head injury, stroke, and dehydration, heat stroke and dehydrations. So I like the science in the neuro, and I like the outcome from the neurosurgery. Of course, it was not that great outcome, but in general, I like the working in neurosurgery, helping, giving immediate reaction toward patients and help them, especially in my region, which is Jeddah city, nearby to Mecca. So then I went to Riyadh to take some experience from there. I worked with one of the of my role models, Dr. Abdurrahman Sabbagh. He was the first one who asked me to touch the brain, and it was like amazing feeling that it felt like cat body. It was really great, and at that time I decided to go for neurosurgery. I thought about different specialties like plastic, hands subspecialty in plastic, and also ophthalmo, neurophthalmo, ENT, but finally I found myself in neurosurgery more. So I have applied through the Saudi Commission of Health Specialties, and I still remember that phone call when I have received the call that told me I was accepted among so good people and or candidates applied for this position. So I got accepted in one of the best hospitals, which is the King Faisal Specialist Hospital and Research Center. It has, I was like the first female actually in this department, and it was real pleasure for me to work there. I have worked with great pioneers in neurosurgery, like the first one on the left side, Dr. Professor actually Zain Abdin Jabjoum. He's the founder of a neurosurgery program in Saudi Arabia. The second one is Prof. Saleh Baisa. He is my truthful mentor, who's always given me the chances to work, also write studies and excel in my career. The third one here is Dr. Mohammed bin Mahfoud. He is my backbone, and he's the one who's supporting me from A till I reach the Z, inshallah, soon. So this is one of the events actually. It happened to me when I was presenting one of my papers in the SANS 10th SANS meeting. It was my pleasure actually to present my abstract there after finishing, because it was the time during at the end of my honeymoon, which I cut and came to present this paper. So they have given me some appreciation, and they made this surprise by inviting my husband after presentation and make some funny stuff. So this is one of the greatest memories that I wanted to share with you, that to show you how much lovely environment can be happen in neurosurgery. Although we have dull specialties and some difficult outcomes, but we still can have fun. Those are the SANS organizers. The SANS is the Saudi Association of Neurosurgery. It's an association that is responsible about education and conferences, meeting, inviting the president to the workshops, either locally or outside, globally, to US, Canada, even to the Gulf area like Dubai. Those are also my mentors there, and of course I have faced a lot of obstacles, but also we have some facilities. I have shown you the bright side about neurosurgery and in a Saudi female neurosurgery resident life, but still there are some cons about being a neurosurgery female. It has difficulties sometimes in planning your life, as it's a very long journey, and to some extent the hectic lifestyle will drive you away from your personal and your social life. So even after getting married, like I found some difficulty in planning for having kids because of tremendous exposure to the radiation during deep brain stimulation procedures, spinal procedures, wearing the heavy lead, heavy apron during the procedures. Those are some points that I was considering during planning for having kids. So despite all of that, actually having a good partner who is proud of you, like my lovely husband, he was taking some videos for me while I was doing midnight surgery for one child. Actually here after I have evacuated the hematoma, it was epidural hematoma, it was life-saving procedure. So I was only stitching, relaxing, and he was doing some procedures. He was resuscitating one patient after cesarean section, as he is a pediatrician. So he saw me in the next door, and he was taking this video to surprise me from my back. So by the end, I'm very grateful for my husband, Dr. Mohammed Al-Sha'ir, for his constant support, and also my great family who are always supporting me, my teachers and my consultants. In the end, and I would thank our Saudi leadership, presented by King Salman, and also his his crown prince, his crown prince Mohammed bin Salman, for their great opportunities and great support for women in all the fields in Saudi Arabia. We are facing a big revolution, and we are very proud of them. As you saw, a lot of changes may be happening worldwide, and alhamdulillah, for a very good time, we had improving in our education and our programs, as we have a very strong residency program, and so far we have two kind of fellowships which are available inside the Saudi Arabia, like fellowship in pediatric neurosurgery and the skull base as well. So we are gaining a lot of advances, inshallah, soon. I'm happy to ask me about anything about neurosurgery in Saudi Arabia. I would love to see more females in the field. That it is very growing, and a lot of girls are coming into the fields. Some consultants has already reached the consultants and professors levels. Unfortunately, I didn't meet a lot during my residency, but I encourage girls that neurosurgery is a fruitful subspecialty. If you want to do it, just do it, and consider the value and the load of that work. It's worth it, and that's it. Thank you. I hope you liked my talk. It's very brief. I try to make it as simple as possible. And I promise you to make a lot of statistics soon, inshallah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Afnan. It was a pleasure to have you with us. Any questions, comments? She's coming from Saudi Arabia, and I personally feel when I went there to Jubail, and it was a surprise for me to see the number of women showing up in neurosurgical conference. It was surprising. It was beyond the expectation, because we have this image, and it has come from years, that Saudi Arabia is not it's a very hostile environment for women. But when I saw there personally, I was very impressed, and I met her there, and I was impressed at the kind of work they're doing, and the mentors who are supportive to females in neurosurgery, they're bringing them up. So it was very encouraging to see the response there.
I want to make a comment about this fantastic presentation. So congratulations. As you know, I'm from Algeria, so it's an Arabic country, and I was aware that you have some women neurosurgeons. But what is very exciting now is that you are more and more joining this specialty, and also what is happening in your country. And I want to give you an information is that at the end of the year, in October, we will have the Pan-Arab Neurosurgical Congress in Marrakesh, in Morocco. And for the first time, this society will have a female president, who is Nadia Al-Abadi from Morocco, and me as secretary from Algeria. So it is really a big revolution for Arabic countries, since, as you know, and you know that very well more than me, that we have very few women neurosurgeons in Arabic country from the Middle East. And we hope that our project is to create the WIN section of the Pan-Arab Neurosurgical Society. So I invite you to join us, you and your colleagues. We know very well Dr. Aisha Al-Hajjaj, but we don't know the young generation as you. And we want you to be with us. So please, you have my mail in the email of Hira, and please contact us. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure. Thank you very much, inshallah. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Dr. Anita Darbar. Do you want to put a comment or something? Can you try? Okay, we cannot hear you again. So did you test? Did you test your system? Is it working? Okay, I guess. Okay. So it's not working. So maybe. Okay. I think it's not a good day today, but still we want you to be on the panel and you can join us. So we have another speaker, and if she is Dr. Rosanna Romani. She's here with us from London. She is the adjunct professor of neurosurgery at the University of Helsinki. She at the Imperial College, NHS Trust, London. Dr. Rosani will speak on the women in neurosurgeons in the United Kingdom, the past, the present, and the future. So, Dr. Rosanna, please take the next presentation.
Thank you very much for the chance to give this talk, and I'm very impressed by some of the talk. I mean, they are really inspiring to improve the neurosurgical field, especially from the women's side. Can you see the presentation?
No, you need to share your screen.
Yes. Can you see now?
No, you need to click on the green icon below in the Zoom window. It says share.
Actually, I did that. Let me see. Okay, share. Oh, okay, it's fine. Should be
yes.
Okay now.
Yeah.
Can you see?
Yeah. Yes, we can see.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Please put this on the slide share.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's okay. Thank you.
So I wish to talk today about the present situation in UK and about the past, about as well the future neurosurgery. So everybody knows that the father of the neurosurgical field is Harvey Cushing, who trained and studied in Yale University, Harvard, and then worked in Johns Hopkins in Baltimore. I don't know if you know who is I would say the mother of the neurosurgical field and the first woman in neurosurgery. So she's Diana Beck, who is the first female neurosurgeon in UK, but also in all the world. So she's the one who became the first neurosurgeon. And she has a very interesting story. So she was a daughter of a tailor, and she born in a small village in the West England. You can see here Chester. Then she had the chance to do the medical school, the women medical school in London. And then after that, she had the opportunity to start the career at the Royal Free Hospital. So she was very lucky because she had also the opportunity to start the neurosurgical field, to have the neurosurgical training in Oxford in 1939 with Hugo Kern. So Hugo Kern is a very important neurosurgeon in UK because he's the one who started the neurosurgical department in Oxford, actually the John Radcliffe Hospital, and he came from Australia. So he trained and he studied medical school in Australia, and then he trained also with Harvey Cushing, and then came to UK. And is one of the mentor and a teacher of Diana Beck. And this is the old infirmary hospital in Oxford. So during the Second World War, Diana Beck was appointed consultant at the Royal Free Hospital, and then she served in the emergency medical service. And she went as well to Bristol to work as a neurosurgeon. So she was basically dealing with the emergency neurosurgery at that time. So after the war, she became consultant in the Middlesex Hospital, and she was extremely good teacher. She was a so good teacher that the students during the weekend were following her for the ward round instead to do their hobbies, their activities, because she was really very inspiring and very charismatic person. And this is the Middlesex Hospital. She also became famous in the UK because she had the chance to operate Alexander Milne, who is the father of Winnie the Pooh. So at that time, I think when you do an operation to an important person, I think it's quite make you actually more famous. And she was interested basically on intracerebral hemorrhage. So in 31 years of career, she was the only female neurosurgeon in the West Country, and very interesting. I mean, she was affected by myasthenia gravis in the late of the life, and unfortunately she died for pulmonary embolism in 1959. She was very devoted to the neurosurgical field. She never married, and for her life was neurosurgery, and their student, who I guess they're very lucky to have such a kind of teacher. Neurosurgery today in UK, so we have a 30 neurosurgical department, and only 32 female neurosurgeon consultants. In 2008, there were 4.5% of the consultants were female, with 11%, around 12% trainees. 2018, 52 female, so nowadays 9%. In 10 years, so double of the number. And as a trainees, 70%, so just a few percentage more. In London, which is very huge city with 5 neurosurgical units, there are a few neurosurgical departments where there is no female neurosurgeon. This is Royal London and the Queen's Hospital, North East London. King's College, which is a very big neurosurgical unit, appointed only a few months ago the first female neurosurgeon consultant, and she's still locum, not yet permanent. And the National Hospital for Neurology and Neurosurgery, which is the oldest neurosurgical department in the country, has 4 female consultants. So how to increase the number and how to make a neurosurgery more attractive for the young generation? Definitely to have an international commitment, to have such a kind of event, I would say for sure can improve, can also inspire the young medical doctor who can, I think many people, many women are attracted by neurosurgery, but the lifestyle, which is very demanding and require a lot of sacrifice, sometimes, especially in some country, in some culture, but I would say as well in UK, I would say as well in Italy, where I come from, does not make easy the choice. So I think we should facilitate this. And we should also be happy about our life, even if we are all the time in the hospital, about all the time in research, or whatever we do, but if we are satisfied, we are happy, then it doesn't matter. I mean, So I think this make really happy our life. I think that's the experience of all of you. So we are so dedicated, so passionate, and we are happy of what we do. And of course, life is a lot of aspects. I think life is religion, is soul, is sport, voluntary work. I mean, a lot of aspects. And the neurosurgery definitely as the majority of the time of our life. So all of us, I think, choose neurosurgery because we really love what we do, and we want to improve as well the field. And but on the other hand, we should also don't forget that there are other aspects. And I think Gail gave a very good presentation, so inspiring, because family, faith, also language, very important to be happy and to have friends, and as well to improve the neurosurgical field. And this we can do together with like a chain and around the world. So I'm very happy to be here and very honored about I hope this talk has been inspiring for all of you. And thank you very much for your presentation and your contribution. And also, I'm very happy to collaborate about research, about academic work with you, even if we are in different countries, in different neurosurgical departments. But I think we should collaborate not only by experience and sharing experience about our personal life, but as well about our scientific life and our clinical work every day. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rosanna, and I will take this into consideration, because the next Women in Neurosurgery Symposium will be more towards scientific and clinical contributions of females in their areas. So there we can have a discussion of your cases and some of the academic and clinical events, whatever we have on the clinical aspect, because this was more a personalized seminar regarding the experiences of females in neurosurgery. So I think we need to take a step ahead, and we need to start on focusing clinical cases and your operative records, or maybe videos, or some discussions regarding operative techniques and other advances. So thank you so much for your talk. Do you have any? Yes?
Yeah, Hira, we should just to tell that when I started a medical career, I'm graduated in Italy, and I did a neurosurgical training in Rome. And one of the mentors of my early step of my career, neurosurgical career, was a Gail Russo. So the first female neurosurgeon I met in my life was Gail Russo, and she was working in Chicago. She has been extremely inspiring. So she has been definitely one of my mentors, and she helped me very much in a concrete way when I was a young neurosurgeon, young trainees. And so I am definitely very happy to help all of you. I mean, all of those that really need help, because that's important to have a mentor, to have someone who has already had the experience in the neurosurgical field, and also knows how how the difficult sometimes is our field.
That's true. That's and we are. I mean, I myself feel so glad that we have so many mentors for us. We young neurosurgeons who are aspiring to become neurosurgeons, we have a lot of guidance and do's and don'ts from your experiences. So, any other comments from the panel? Anyone would like to add or ask anything from UK?
Thank you very much about your lecture presentation. I want to ask you, maybe you find some way how to invite the women in the neurosurgery profession by changing lifestyle or something else, because lifestyle and stereotype. It's one of the biggest problem how to invite Ukrainian young doctors to that professional.
Thank you.
But only a comment, maybe the new generation, not only a medical doctor, but all the new generation are looking for a better balance in life. They are questioning what we are doing. It was really correct, spend a lot of time inside the operating room, inside the hospital. There is a lot of questioning, not only in our field, but in all kind of field. Maybe in the future, we don't need to spend too much to be normal people. Maybe we can share more. Now,
No, that's true.
Rosanna, I think we are little near the generation. In our time, it was usual to spend 12, 20 hours working every single day. It doesn't matter where you are. And now I think the paradigm is changing for better, even for us. We don't need to don't sleep, to don't have weekends, but it was in our mind that it was necessary to win. But now it's difficult just keep away this mentality. We need maybe some decades. But I'm happy to see the new generation having life, husband, and happiness in life with neurosurgery is fantastic.
No, I think what you said is totally true. I think it's not a problem only of neurosurgery. I think it's a problem of not only medical field, but also other field, because a banker, economists, they also have a very tough life, a hard life. So I think it's probably our century,
yes.
So we should.
Just my husband bring me a coffee just now because it wasn't time to take. But it's fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank
well
you.
Done.
Thank you for.
Thank you.
Just for a note, I think it has also to do with the way that we present ourselves as female neurosurgeons, by the fact that we don't want to fail because we are an example. Many of us have been the first females in a residency program or the first female faculties.
Yeah, that's true.
And we don't want our feminine side to be in the way of our professional side, like getting pregnant or having a child that is sick at home and not going to work. I mean, those things are unthinkable for us when we are setting a precedent in our practices. But at the same time, I mean, we pretend to be superwoman and to try to multitask in 20,000 things every single day. But as we are presenting ourselves, I think many times the pressure comes from inside ourselves more than actually the surroundings. And we, as the maternal side of being the female in the department, you try to coach your colleagues and support them the most that you can. And that sometimes we also forget that they need to support us, and we need to teach them how to do that as well. So it's just a point of reflection that is not sometimes not only about what the structure is, but how we need to speak up to change that structure towards being more favorable to for women to multitask, because obviously all of them have also wives and families and kids at home. So at some point in life, they also need to stand on the other side and understand that we all jiggle during the daytime to try to be the best that we can on every single one of the roles that we have in life. Certainly being a neurosurgeon is very important, but there are days where your family should be more important than that. So the point of reflection here is that please speak up. Please don't hide who you are as a female, because that is part of who you are as a person, as a neurosurgeon, as an athlete. And that we don't need to be embarrassed about those things, because that's actually what makes us more powerful. we multitask and we are great administrators for many things, and we need to speak up by ourselves.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zuma, for your comments. And it's absolutely correct that we are what we are, and we don't need to pretend. And we move next to our next presenter, Dr. Kadam Khair Rasul-Hamma. She is with us from Iraq, and she has to share about the women in neurosurgery in Iraq and their progress. Dr. Kadam Khair is a specialist neurosurgeon and the head of department, and she trains both students from Ruzava Hospital in Iraq. So, Dr. Kadam Khair, can you please begin? I think we need to get off the screen share off from Dr. Rosanna first.
Yes.
You need to go back to the Zoom and click on the share option, and then you'll be off the screen share. Just close the PowerPoint. Yeah, and you go back to Zoom. The Zoom window where we were talking, the window where we are talking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, here.
Yeah, that's it. So, Dr. Kadam Khair, please, this is all yours, and you can start with your presentation. You have to unmute first.
No?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Do you see the presentation now?
Yes, we do see that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. I'm very happy to join you. Special thanks to Dr. Hira to make this arrangement. Really, I'm very happy to know neurosurgeons, women neurosurgeons all over the world. Especially because we as a female, especially in Iraq, we have contact before, but in these last years, maybe we have little contact with women neurosurgeons. So this is very mandatory to join each other, to support each other, and to help each other. So I'm very happy to be with you today. Okay, regarding the history of neurosurgery, of women neurosurgery in Iraq, first of all, I am the first neurosurgeon in Iraq. I started, do you see my screen, or I have to?
Yeah, we see your screen. You have to put it on a slideshow, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm talking today about our progress in Iraq. I'm sorry. I graduated in 2011. I was the first one when I graduated. I had a board degree in neurosurgery. Okay. So I was the head of neurosurgery department for 3 years, till before 1 week. So Dr. Ahira wrote down that I'm still head of the neurosurgery. Actually, just before 1 week, I was the head of neurosurgery, but not right now, because another one has been appointed. For 3 years, being head of department needs lots of work. It was enough. But I'm still training the board students, and right now I'm 38 years of age. It is about 8 years I'm doing specialist neurosurgery work. Okay, so you can ask me questions while I'm presenting if you like. I finished my medical degree in 2003. The first year when I was joined the Iraqi board of neurosurgery was in 2005. At that time, the situation was very hard. It was the time where Iraq was in war with the US. I think I'm a bit nervous now. Okay. During my training, really, I had very bad times. I went through times where I'm very frustrated. I went through times where I'm very depressed, because being first woman in neurosurgeon in Iraq needed lots of efforts. It was always in my mind when I am carrying the reputation of other women, so I need to hard work. I was spending maybe 25 days per month in theater, not going back home, not taking care of my food. I was very thin. Maybe Dr. Suad know me very well. Maybe she don't recognize me now, because I was very, very thin, because there was even no time to eat. so that just I will be a successful lady in neurosurgery, so that I will be a good example for others who come after me. Okay, so the system in Iraq is system in Iraq. You know that Iraq is a country of war, and it is country it is always going to advances, and it lag behind. There are up and downs a lot in Iraq. So in a period in my country, there was period that they were sending people for clinical attachments abroad for lots of people. When I applied for clinical attachment to go to UK, I arranged a clinical attachment. The situation, of course, when you are a student, you don't have enough money to go abroad and to spend months outside if you don't get a financial support. I went to UK. When I applied to get income from the government to support me for a period of my stay, even they didn't give me money for the travel. Even they cut down my salary. Just they give me the rest for 3 months. At the beginning they give me just for 3 months to go, but without salary. So it is not only the matter of money and psychological support. You have to stand. It was for me. It was you have to stand against culture. It's not the only culture. It is the colleagues that they don't accept you. Maybe most of my problems were the colleagues who were with me in my department. The biggest one were supportive, but the one who were in the same level with me, maybe they were not supportive. Even I was going to Baghdad alone. At that time we were working in a hospital in Baghdad. I was going alone all the way from Erbil. So they didn't accept me to go with them even in that way. So I don't want just to talk about the hard times. It was very, very hard, really. And always it was in my mind, since I started the career for neurosurgery, I have to succeed. I have to succeed because I will be a very bad example for the one who come after me. During my stay I went to Newcastle during my period. Maybe Mr. Rosanna know Mr. Patrick Mitchell in Newcastle General Hospital. When I went there, he was very, 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 very supportive for me. And in the first week, he offered me a registrar job in the hospital. But you know, when you go to the system of the GMC, it needs it needs qualification, it needs IELTS exam. And the time which I was given is only 6 months for attachment. So really, I couldn't do that. And I came back because my father was very sick. So being a woman in neurosurgery, you have a lot of responsibilities. Being the first one, of course, there are lots of responsibilities. You have to be successful because you have to show the others you are a good example. You are a successful one. You have to be a good example. You have to be a human of good character. You have to be nice to everyone. You should be nice with the patients, with your colleagues, with everyone. Not to be hated, especially in developing countries when you are the target. When they talk about you, they target you in your reputation. So if they found you successful, they will say, oh, she is bad, or she has. The target is reputation. So they talk about. However, I never cared about this because I had always a supportive family. You have to be good mother because you are married. You have to be a good wife. You have to give right in every aspect of your life. You have to show your perfection not only in work but also ethically. You have to be honest in your work. You have to be respectful. You have to work to reach in a stage that people will trust you. I know that before a while, Dr. Afnan talked. She is a resident in neurosurgery. The life in residency and after graduation, they are completely different things. When you are in residency, there are people who observe you. There are people who supervise you. There are people who take care of you while doing surgery. But when you graduate and you got your degree, you are alone in this long path. So you will have complications. You are alone with your patients. At that time, you will show people whether that you are a successful neurosurgeon or not. Are you trustable neurosurgeon or not? So for me, being a neurosurgeon, for me, people coming to my clinic and will say, we come to your clinic. However, there are hundreds of male neurosurgeons. When they come to my clinic and they say, we trust you because because we trust you because you did hundreds of successful surgeries and because you are very honest. This is for me. This is regarded as a very good success when people, in spite of hundreds of men, they come to my clinic and they ask me to do surgery. The system in the problem is that the system in Iraq, and maybe I don't know in the whole Middle East, but in Iraq the system is very different from that of in the United Kingdom, or we are face to face with the patient. If you fail in doing surgery for someone, maybe you are prone to be killed by the family. So there is nothing to protect you. There is no law to protect you, whether you are male or female, to protect you. So you have to do a successful surgery. You have to be successful in your work. Okay, next one. Okay, so in 2011, when I was graduated and I was very active in my department, I was doing lots of audits, presentations, doing lots of surgeries. One day, Dr. Prof. Ibrahim Sbayah visited. Ibrahim Sbayah, he was the vice president of in WFNS for Middle East. He visited our department and he saw me in a meeting while I was presenting lots of cases. So he told me that, do you know that even in the Middle East, we don't have women neurosurgeons? I said, I know that I'm first one in Iraq, but I didn't know that in the Arabic countries we don't have. So he said, you need to join the Women in Neurosurgery of WFNS. So a few months later, I received a letter from Prof. Yoko Kato to join join Women in Neurosurgeons of Brazil. So at that time, I went there, and the first one I saw was Dr. Suad Al-Bakhti. I think she is with us now. Really, I was very happy to see her. I prepared a presentation about women in neurosurgery in Iraq, but there was some problems in the schedules of the conference. So almost when I went to present, it was the day before. So I lost the presentation, but it was a very nice chance to meet all the women in neurosurgery there. So in 2014, I attended 2 meetings in Egypt. One of them was in Academia Al-Askariya in Egypt. It was about pediatric neurosurgery. And the other one was WFNS meeting. And I met lots of our colleagues, women in neurosurgery. And we planned to have a meeting in Dubai for the next year. Really, I was expecting to go to the meeting for the Dubai, but I was not invited. So I lost contact with them. I attended so many meetings. I attended Jordan meeting, AO spine training course. I did so many training courses in spine and brain in a lot of things, and I spent huge money about that. The point is that really I encourage young women. It's about 8 years I'm practicing neurosurgery, and I'm doing different branches apart from vascular and functional because it's not available. We don't have facilities in Iraq. Otherwise, my advice to young neurosurgeons is that after graduations, stick to subspecialty immediately instead of being a general neurosurgeon. I am doing all of them, and I'm very good in all of them. But it is still, I'm thinking to have a fellowship in a subspecialty. So I had a training course in trauma and degenerative disease of the spine in 2014 and 2017. I was the head of committee of Peshmerga in the war against ISIS. It was 3 years of a continuous work. I was selected by Ministry of Health because I am a neurosurgeon, and because I am very active, and because I am honest and trustable, and I don't belong to any political side in my country, and I am not afraid from anyone, and I am not under command or control of anyone. I am just myself, and I have strong personality. That's why they usually the committees which they select people, the committees are only for 6 months. But this committee, it was extended for 3 years because they said I am the one who don't accept fraud, or because most of the injured Peshmerga, all of them, they were assessed, and they need to, some of them they need to go abroad. But the one who are not indicated, I never accept. However, I received many phone calls for VIP persons because I was not accepting that, so that they said you have to stay in this because you are the only one who don't accept cheating or something else. In 2014, I received a certificate of GCP of a good clinical practice for participation in of a CRASH 3 trial, which is an international UK-based trial. So you have to do this exam to participate. I received the certificate, then I participated. In 2015, I did training course on endoscopic spine surgery in Istanbul. Really, I was in a period before ISIS, Iraq situation was going to a very advanced stage. We reached to a stage we were doing everything endoscopic. I was the first one who started endoscopic spine surgery. I did many trainings. I did in Istanbul, I did in Tübingen in Germany, I did in Herne in Germany with the clinical attachment. I started, but a period later, all the instruments had been broken. Now, with the ISIS, the situation in Iraq lagged behind maybe 20 years. We reached a stage that we don't have inside our theater, we don't have gel foams, we don't have Surgisil, we don't have even suture materials. The microscope is broken. Nothing is, there are periods up and periods very down. So the situation is very unstable, and it is not in the benefit neither women nor men. So these are many training courses I did, and I am training board students. I joined multiple conferences in UK. I'm a member of SBNS, of Society of British Neurological Surgery. So I joined NS Spine main conference in London at the time where the building burned. I was there. I did many training courses in complex spinal techniques and brain techniques in Newcastle. I did in Liverpool, in Telford, in London. The last time I joined the conference was in Plymouth in UK, and I had a poster presentation regarding the surgical treatment of retained mesial pieces inside the spinal canal. And I had a publication regarding desmoplastic infantile ganglioglioma in UK. It was in Liverpool, this presentation. And I saw some of our Algeria colleagues from Algeria there, they had presentation. I am principal investigator of CRASH-3 trial in Iraq. CRASH-3 is, this trial is this is my presentation, the poster presentation. And this is the SBNS, this is me. The CRASH-3 trial is the biggest head injury trial which ever done. It is conducted on 13,000 patients all over the world. This trial started in 2012, and it is only 6 months left. It will end at the beginning of 2019. In this trial, the tranexamic acid is given in traumatic brain injury. It is proven in the other trials in CRASH-2 and in CRASH-1 that giving tranexamic acid in patient with extracranial bleeding, not brain injury, extracranial bleeding, those who have bleeding in the abdomen, or they have fractures, fractured femur, or they have massive bleeding extracranially, by giving 1 gram of tranexamic acid direct and giving 1 gram maintenance, it is very effective in reducing mortality, reducing morbidity, reducing risk of blood transfusion. So this trial is focusing only on giving in brain injury, not in patients who have extracranial bleeding. So I'm the only investigator in Iraq for this trial. And I was the star team for this. I have to thank my team that they were very active in recruiting patients. This was in newsletter of UK. So my work is mainly spine surgery, including simple and complicated spine surgery, cervical, lumbar, dorsal, anterior, and posterior, brain surgeries, trauma, congenital, zero in functional and vascular, especially in the north of Iraq, because we don't have facilities. Even angiography is not available. Really, it is shameful in a country of Iraq, which we live on a river of oil. We don't have this because of lots of corruption. So this is meningioma I removed. This is a very big meningioma. I do fixations. We do lots of cases of trauma. We have decompressive craniotomy. I was the one who started decompressive craniotomy. I am doing of lot of cases, and the results are excellent when you do in a correct time. When you do in the first few hours of injury, and when the Glasgow is above 4, this patient falls from 7th floor, and really his situation was very critical. He needed just cranioplasty, and he's going to get married. He is very good now. This is the compressive craniotomy picture. This is Mr. Patrick Mitchell. He supervised me in 2009. I saw him in the Plymouth meeting in April this year. Prof. Majid, I saw him in WFNS meeting last year in Istanbul. My plan for myself, really, I'm not going to work general neurosurgery forever. I'm planning to do minimal invasive spine surgery because this has helped a lot of people, help mainly the old age people who they are osteoporotic, those who are in pain, those who have multiple problems. So I prefer to do a fellowship on this. I remained alone for many years, really, and I worked very hard. I am married and I have one children. She is about 5 years of age. Believe me, even during my delivery, which was by cesarean section, only after 2 weeks I returned back to hospital. I didn't take rest because because I was alone. If I was always thinking like that. If I take rest and I stay 1 year at home, I will disappear. People will forget me. I was always thinking that I have to be available so that people know that the Dr. Qadam Khair didn't disappear. She exists. I didn't take even rest for delivery. In the last 2 years, we have many doctors graduated. We have Dr. Hero Umar. She has Arabic board. In 2016, she finished her board degree and she is very active. She is working in Suleimania, but she works general neurosurgery. We have Dr. Hiba Abdurrahim. She is Arabic board. Last year she finished her degree. In Baghdad, they have functional neurosurgery, and she is working on functional, and she is very active. Really, she would like to have a fellowship on functional neurosurgery. We have recently Dr. Delvin Abdul Qadir. She finished Arabic board in 2018, and she is very interested in vascular neurosurgery. So these are the specialists who are graduated. They finished their degree. I wish through your cooperation, if we can arrange for them a fellowship in the fields they interested, because in Iraq these branches are not available. So for us, a woman, to start subspecialty, because in Iraq there's no subspecialty. The problem is that the system of the medical system in Iraq is very, 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 very bad. We work in the morning in governmental hospital, but the salary we take in the government is very, very little. It is not enough for living. So we need to work in our private clinics. That's why no one in Iraq can work subspecialty. Really the point is money, because they can't refuse patients when they come to their clinic. In different branches, they can refuse to do surgery for them because this is the income of their life. That's why. But really, we as a female, we want to encourage subspecialty for the ladies, because the ladies are not thinking of money a lot. So if we start subspecialty to be the pioneers in starting vascular and functional, it will be very good. We have these ladies in different stages. We have Dr. Maluk Qasim. She is in the 5th year of Arabic board. Dr. Inas Sadiq, these are the finals. Inas Sadiq, she is in 5th year Arabic board. Gulshan Talat, 5th year Kurdish board. We have 3 types of board: Kurdish, Iraqi, and Arabic. We have Dr. Iman Mahmoud. She is 5th year Arabic board. Dr. Rasha Abdul Hafiz. She is in the 4th year of Arabic board. Dr. Awfa Kazim Abdul Latif. She is 4th year Arabic board. Dr. Zainab Abdul Muhsin. She is 2nd stage Arabic board. Dr. Alia Kazim, 2nd stage Arabic board. Dr. Shams Amir in the 1st year of Arabic board. Dr. Farah Abdul Wahid, 1st Arabic board. Dr. Ayyam Ali, 1st Iraqi board. Dr. Avin Umar, 1st Iraqi board. Dr. Avan Hamakarim, 1st Kurdish board. Dr. Shams Amir, 1st Arabic board. Dr. Isra Ahmed, 1st Arabic board. Dr. Mawj Ali, 1st Arabic board. Dr. Rasha Ala, 1st Iraqi board. Really, the number is increased a lot, from 1 in 2011 to 21 in 2018. This is a very big progress in. So I hope through this connection between us, we can do something for them. Actually, in my country, not only the females that they don't have support, even the male they don't have support. So through this connection, if we can arrange for the graduated one fellowship degree in the point of their interest, and for the ladies who are in their branches, if we can arrange for them clinical attachment in or workshops or hands-on courses, it will be great. And I would like only, not really, I don't like only to, we like to help the ladies but at the same time, I would like to offer the help for the men colleagues of also in our department, not to show them that we are greedy and we are just thinking about ourselves. If we have access to help, we have to help both genders equally. So because since we are working as a neurosurgeon, for me, in my point of view, there is no difference between men and women. When I went to neurosurgery, I never think that there is a difference between men and women. I see myself like that. So that's why I don't want to make a difference between. We help. I'd like to help. We will focus on the ladies for the subspecialties, but at the same time to offer help for both genders. Thank you. Any question?
Thank you so much, Dr. Hama, for this inspiring presentation. We got a message from Dr. Zulma on this chat panel. She would like to thank you very much for your candid, sincere, and inspirational talk.
Thank you.
Yes. So any other questions, comments from the panel?
I want to make a comment. Dr. Hama, I'm very happy to see you again.
Thank you very much, Dr. Since long time I didn't see you.
Say that I met her the first time in 2011 in the Brazil, and I was very impressed by her tenacity and volunteer, and she proved that. She explained to you in all these slides that this course is very, very particular, and she is very courageous. And I hope that we can help you, because you are an example for many, many women and many men around the world who are living all these difficulties in these times of war. So please continue and contact me if you need any help.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Hama.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's very nice to see you again.
Dr. Hama, I'm really impressed by your work, and being the first is always carries lots of responsibilities, and I think you have made it. So I'm really impressed.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and if you need it, really, we can keep in touch. I mean, Hira sent the email of everybody, so I think we have all of the email in this meeting. Recipient. So please be free to contact, and of course we can help. And
okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Congratulations. Do a neurosurgery without microscope, without material. You are really a brave neurosurgeon. Really, really tough work. And you are a perfectionist person. You survive for different tasks to be here now, and congratulations. You are an example that if we really desire, we can do it, and you do it. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think you summarized so many of our feelings. Probably what was out of my scope of thinking is the fact that you also risked your own life performing surgery. And there are the tremendous political stress and situations that you are. I think those are issues that we need to take into considerations on how to support you, and at this moment even how to protect you. But thank you very much for everything that you are doing. I mean, you are definitely a leader on what you are doing in your country, and we are all here to support you in the best way that we can.
Thank you very much. Really, I mean, when you become a specialist and you have your own clinic, I can do something for myself because I travel a lot. I can make relations. But the point is that to help the other ladies which they don't have any support, or the other colleagues which they can't do anything. That's why for me the best thing is to help them and to link them with the fellows that the point of their interest, and the young ladies to teach them to make a clinical attachment for them. Because when they go outside, this is a lot of motivation. When you go outside, when you see the work, you learn new skills. When you come back, you practice. This is very, very important. So I hope that we work on this subject.
Thank you, Dr. Dr. Hama, for this, and I'm sure we can carry forward this message to on the ACNS platform. Dr. Divya can convey this message to Professor Kato as well regarding fellowship opportunities for females in Iraq. We can link Professor Hama to Professor Kato
Definitely.
again.
I will send the mail to Professor
Yes.
Kato. And actually,
Yes.
ACNS wins, like in the executive committee also, we are planning to discuss about starting fellowship. See, the senior women neurosurgeons, actually, they can, every year they can take one female fellow, they can make it a point.
And
every
I think
year they can train someone. So like that kind of thing, senior neurosurgeons, actually, they have to decide on and they come up. So we are planning.
And I guess we have the ACNS educational centers around the world in Asia. So I think we can combine and we can send them a proposal regarding having at least one female fellow in every batch they take. So I think that will increase the number of
definitely.
Yes, we can propose this in the upcoming meeting at the WFNS conference.
Okay,
and
we will discuss it.
One more word: if there is anyone that is interested in pediatric neurosurgery, certainly me, myself, and Nelsie can help on that regard, as we are the executive board of the International Society. So,
we will convey the message, Dr. Zalman.
Yes, yes. I think we can put this on an email and we can have an entire conversation on this. Yeah. Okay, so we proceed with the next speaker. We have Professor Nelsie Zanon with us. She is a pediatric neurosurgeon and at Uniopolis, Sao Paulo, Brazil. It's an honor to have her with us because she is on a vacation apparently, and she had to take out time from her vacations to join this symposium. We are thankful to you, Professor Nelsie. So she's also the Pediatric Neurosurgery Committee chairman. So Professor Nelsie, your talk now. Thank you.
Thank you so lot, Hira. It's a privilege to be here sharing and learning a lot. And it's the second symposium and with you. It's fantastic work you are doing. And my thanks also to Professor Kato and Gay Rousseau that they was responsible to introduce me in the world. Before I was a pediatric neurosurgical leader, but I didn't see any gender difference, just work hard in the pediatric neurosurgical field. I'll talk some basic topics in Brazil, medical doctors, neurosurgeons, and some comments in my personal experience. The gender equality is a tendency of achievement. Gender equality and is an indicator of a country progress and development. Brazil is the only country in Latin America Portuguese speaking. All the other countries are Spanish speaking. It's the third largest country in America and the fifth world largest country in the world. We need to deal with several different issues in our country. Healthcare system, we have both public and private. The public is not enough, not for the patients and not for the doctors to survive only with public. Are you listening? It's okay? Okay. Inequality is not only in the gender. We have social inequality. We need to try to reduce violence and corruption. I think it's a worldwide problem. And the doctors in Brazil are increasing more than the population. We see here the rate increase in green is doctors, in the population in blue, and the doctors per habitant is not so poor index. It's quite well. How many doctors we need? It's each country have a different variability. It's not perfect number to have, but we see in Brazil the medical school increasing the women in the medical school since 1960. And it's a local problem and political also. Since 2015, we have foreign doctors coming with some political and economical issue. And the women in medical career. Brazil are in the middle. We are around 40%. 45%. If you consider 34 countries, we are just in the middle, the women in medical career. But if we consider the new doctors, the women now are more than 50% after 2009. For 2020, we expect more younger doctors in the field, mostly of them under 35 years old, more female than now. And we need to deal with the gender pay gap existing today. Probably the new generation are looking for flexible work hours and better distribution in the regions in Brazil. When we think about neurosurgical field in Brazil, we see in orange the women. When our society was created in 1957, it was the same. It was around 5%. And we see with time, we didn't increase too much. In 2010, we was still 5%. Considering 3 decades in our society, the women in neurosurgery is still almost the same. I wasn't born in 1997, and it was women in neurosurgery in our country. Considering only the certified board neurosurgery in Brazil, actually, the last year, 2017, we have 6 to 5 to 7% of women. But the expectation is our residents in training. Actually, we have 75 women in training. It's corresponding almost 50%. They increase in 5 years more than we increase more than in 3 decades. Our medical school, actually 6 years. The neurosurgical training is 5 years. Specialization or fellow usually is 1 or 2 years. And we are ready to work beyond 30 years. It's if we think to be mom, it's possible to be during training is a question. I have a friend, she got delivered twice during pregnancy. It was like our colleague from Iraq. In 2 or 3 weeks, she goes back to the work and she's still working hard until today. But it's an issue. We have difficulties in each country, different family support, and need to be planned. If childs are in our plan, we need to think about first. My personal career was in the south of Brazil, where I am today. It's a cold, it's winter time here. And neurosurgical training, I spent 4 years in Rio de Janeiro. And after that, the fellowship in France for 3 years. And when I came back, I just got president, the first women president of the Brazilian Society of Pediatric Neurosurgery. In France, it wasn't different at that time. In the hospital, Centre Hospitalier Régional de Besançon, it wasn't any woman in surgery, not only in neurosurgery. I think that the time is changing and changing for the better for us. At that time, I met Professor Schux in Marseille. I spent a year with him. And I can tell you, he changed my mind about behavior in neurosurgery. Until that, I knew two different kinds of neurosurgeons. The good neurosurgeons in the operating room and bad human being, or the excellent human being and not so excellent in the theater. Probably all of us know women and men that have this kind of behavior. I spent 7 years looking for somebody until met Professor Schux. You are lucky, some of you met since the beginning. Fantastic. Now still working. He was one of the founder in the pediatric neurosurgical community in the world, still living and teaching until today. After my fellowship, I continue visiting and doing workshops and meetings just to have an idea. In 1995, in ISPN meeting, in pediatric neurosurgical meeting, maybe 3 between the group were female. If we see here in 2005, almost half of the pediatric neurosurgical community in Brazil are women. The same difference in pediatric neurosurgical training, it was the European course in 2000. Maybe 10 or 15% were women there. And in 2016, I organized the Latin American course. And for the first time in our community, it was 50% in the audience, more than 30% in the faculty, it was women. Maybe there is a bias that I was the president or the organizer of the meeting, and I try to privilege the invitation for the colleagues. And when I met Nadla and Graziella some years ago, I didn't imagine that Graziella, it was the first president in the ISPN, and she was the president of the past president of the WIN committee. The actual president is in our board now today. So what? And in Istanbul, we met the leaders in the WIN meeting, and it was fantastic sharing like we are sharing today online. We share a physically experience. I got also the privilege in 2011 to have the cover letter in the childhood nervous system because our team was a female team in pediatric neurosurgery, and as a Duroko invite to write some words about the subject. And now we just create the official WIN in neurosurgery in Brazil. I am now the chair of the women committee in the Brazilian Society. And our challenge are we try to solve in WhatsApp group with 241 members. We have medical school, we have seniors, we have residents, and there is mentoring online discussing our cases or local difficulties, and we try to help each other and try to encourage the medical school to become neurosurgeons. And we need to do a lot in the field, but I think we are winning in this moment. We are encouraging more and more people. The Neurosurgical League, 2 or 3 are leading by women also. The goal is try to find the gender equality in pay. Generational renewal will come if you want or not. And maybe the more challenging is try to management time and to find the work balance in life. and maybe the flexible working hours should be an option. And if we choose maternity, we try to help, for example, one of the question here, we don't have children to be keeping at house all the time. And if you are on call, if you don't have support in the family, maybe we need to think in a second plane. And just to remember my professor, Maurice Schooks, and our teamwork in the operating room, our surgeons, nurse scrub, and they personal work. Roberta worked in the papers that were cover letter in the journal, and Giselle was cover letter in the child's nervous system. And just to encourage the young women, do not only assistance in the theater, but try to write, to work hard, and also in academical field. I think it's the second challenge. When we win in the operating room, we win in the clinical career, we need to go further and try to do the next step. And maybe the take-home message is live like to the fullest and work hard, and be the first one to reach out to someone who needs help. Maybe the women have this inner quality, and to share is in our mind, in our spirits, is not so hard to share our experience and to learn with the experience of our colleagues. Thanks a lot, dears.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nelsie, and it's always a pleasure to have you with us. Any comments by anyone?
Does I have a question?
Yes.
Are you working, first, thanks a lot for the very nice presentation. Are you working in general or you are subspecialized?
I am subspecialized, and I am pediatric neurosurgeon,
okay.
and in the field here, there is Zuma and Sawad. We are 3 pediatric neurosurgeons here with you today. Probably if you need some help, you are in the right place to find pediatric neurosurgical fellow around the world, and Zuma is the chairman of the liaison committee in ISPN. I think in this field there is not more facility, but maybe taking care of children, we have more, not so difficult for others to understand, to accept, and to deal with. We just need, like Zuma tell before, to tell others what we need, what we are doing, what we are here for, and try to express ourselves. Usually when somebody asks questions, we just stay shy and waiting for somebody else answer, even if we know the answer. And with time, we learn that we need to express ourselves all the time. I'm learning with you, Zuma.
Yeah, that comes with the years, and what I call the skin of an elephant that we all get through the training and through the practice, to be in a position where you can actually speak up your mind freely without the fear or any kind of retaliation, either for work or for your academic progression or your professional life. So that's why I think it's very important for us, the way that we sell ourselves. What Gail said earlier about being very educated on our perspectives, what you have expressed in your talks about how we are the first one setting up the example for the other ones who come behind us, and how we need to be perfect on every single aspect of our lives. It's difficult. At this point, I think the more that we could publish, the more as a forum of female presenting the different perspectives. And actually, one of my current interests
in the International Society for Pediatric Neurosurgery is expressing the disparities in practice for female pediatric neurosurgeons, and certainly we can make this a global effort with the help of Nelsie and all of you. I think it's very important in this era where, you know, at least in the United States, the Me Too movement is so into fashion, but I think it's expanding globally to make sure that there is equality in practices and opportunities. It's not only the practice and the salaries, it's also the given opportunities for females to access to trainings, to promotions, to good jobs, to become professors, to become part of the formal, the organizational neurosurgery. Believe it or not, even in the most developed countries, you will believe that, oh, there is equality in practice, which is not, and we all know that those things still remain under the carpet. There are many females that have expressed interest in working with me on this project, but they don't want to be named because of fear or retaliation on her professional practices. I think this needs to end. We should be able to speak up freely our minds. We are, as neurosurgeons, and so many times better neurosurgeons than our male colleagues. I resisted for many years to express a difference between being a female, because for me, being a female, being a neurosurgeon just was part of who I am, and I didn't need to show up or myself every single time. But the more that I try to become part of different societies or different aspects of my career now as a more senior neurosurgeon, the more that you understand that every single time that you present yourself, we feel that we are obligated to represent ourselves, to prove ourselves to the world, when that is not true. I mean, our fame, who we are, actually precedes who we are, and we don't need to prove ourselves every single time. We deserve the same respect, and we deserve the same considerations for every single opportunity. So again, speak up, let's work together, let's put efforts together, and let's keep changing the minds. You know, I think this effort is fantastic, and I applaud the organizers. I'm so happy that I just learned about this yesterday and I could join you today. I think this is just a blessing from God, and we'll keep working together.
Absolutely, we need to plan another symposium now. Next, do we have more questions for Dr. Nelsie, or should we proceed with her? Okay, let's proceed. We have on the panel Professor Swat Bakhti. She's a professor, and she's a professor at Medical School University, Algeria, head of neurosurgery, and the president of Algerian Society of Neurosurgeons. She was also the president of the Mediterranean Association of Neurosurgeons and the secretary of the Pan-Arab Neurosurgical Society, Women in Neurosurgery WFNS Chair Committee. She will be highlighting the African female neurosurgery trend. Dr. Swat?
Is it okay?
Yes, this is fine. Could you please put this on the slideshow mode so that we can see better? Thank you.
So, hello everybody, and thank you, Dr. Hira, for doing this wonderful job. And for me, it is the first time because, as you know, I was not able to join you for the first online symposium. And I'm really, really happy to be here today with you because I've learned a lot, and I've heard some colleagues from other countries, and I mean, it's a very exciting experience. From the beginning, I just want to precise that I'm coming from Algeria, and Algeria, from the point of view of geography and history, share many cultures. First, of course, African culture, because we are in the north of Africa. Secondly, Arabic culture, we speak Arabic. And third, of course, Mediterranean culture. So I'm really involving in neurosurgery in Africa. And you know that in all the fields, economy, politics, the continent is getting more and more interest in the world. So, sorry, I just have to So in 2013, you can see that African population was around 1,111,000,000 inhabitants, but you can see that the number of neurosurgeons is very few. And when you look at the repartition, you can see that more than 80% of the neurosurgeons are localized in the north of Africa, so Morocco, Algeria, Egypt, Tunisia, and in South Africa. So you can guess that in sub-Saharan Africa, there is a very, very important lack of neurosurgeons. And you can see on this slide that majority of countries who have a very big population, such as Nigeria, who had only 36 neurosurgeons for 155 million inhabitants. Democratic Republic of Congo, 7 neurosurgeons for 72 million inhabitants. Uganda, 6 neurosurgeons for 34 million inhabitants. Of course, now, when we talk about Africa, we need to talk about socioeconomic conditions. And in the field of neurosurgery, for a long time, some students can go outside Africa to learn neurosurgery, to do their training, but unfortunately, most of them didn't return in their countries because they didn't have the tools to do their job. But now things are changing because we have in Morocco since more than 10 years, the WFNS Reference Center of Training in Rabat, where many neurosurgeons, African neurosurgeons have been trained. And we have, since 2013, the Project 100 for Africa, which is done by Professor Sami, and which is to have 100 neurosurgeons, African neurosurgeons, who will be trained by African countries. So now in Algeria, we have 10 trainees, and in the near future, we will have African trainees in Tunisia and in Egypt also. The problem also in Africa is education of girls. You can see that in sub-Saharan Africa, you can see that in 2014, we have 60 million girls that are out of the school system. And some statistics of 2012 in the world, you have 12% of girls were not educated at primary school against 10% of boys. This is for all the world. And when you look at sub-Saharan Africa, you have 25% girls versus 19% of boys. For the north of Africa, I mean, Maghreb is a particular region because it is composed of 3 countries, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia. It is a particular entity because it is a cultural entity. Population is have the same origin, talk the same language, and we share many things in common. And you can see that in this part of Africa, there is a very small proportion of children who are not educated. Sorry. So why we have problems of education of girls in Africa? Of course, socioeconomic conditions. And when we look at the population, women are the poorest population of Africa, but it is also the case everywhere in the world. Problems also are in relation with traditions. In Africa, we have many religions, but traditions is that we have a patriarchal system. So girls are destined to be mothers, not other things. The goal is that they will be mothers and caregivers. Of course, these late years, we have in some countries, as in my country in the 90s or now in Nigeria, or we have had the problems of fundamentalists. And even in our country where the level of education of girls was very high, In the 90s, there was propaganda where people were asking to don't send their girls to school because it was not in concordance with the principles of Muslim religion, which it's not true. Everybody knows that. And another problem is even when women access to university studies, they will not work in a large proportion in Africa. But I know that this is also the case in developed countries such as Japan. So for African neurosurgeons, women, we have women in neurosurgery mainly in Maghreb. And you can see that for Algeria, we are 340 neurosurgeons and we are 25% of women. I mean, in certified neurosurgeons. For Morocco, the proportion is near 10% and Tunisia, 40%. If we take, for example, Egypt, which is the country who had the most important number of neurosurgeons, they have more than 600 neurosurgeons, but they have only one female certified neurosurgeon. So the main proportion of female neurosurgeons in Africa are from my country. There was a problem in my country because women doesn't have any difficulties to go through the career of neurosurgeon, but there are mainly in the academic field, but they don't accede to responsibility positions. The explanation is not so easy to have. It is not because they can't go through this responsibility position. It is mainly because they don't trust in themselves. But now things are really evolving very quickly. And since 2 years, on the 5 biggest and important departments of the country, we are now 2 head of departments. And I must say that I'm very, very lucky because now I'm the head of the oldest and the biggest department in my country. But we have to say some things about the other African countries. Despite the young age of neurosurgery in all these sub-Saharan African countries, many women are integrating the specialty very quickly. So for example, you can see that Ghana has a female resident for 14 neurosurgeons. In Madagascar, we have also 1 female resident. In Niger, we have 1 female certified neurosurgeon, and so on. So these countries have a very young history in neurosurgery, but women have integrated quickly the specialty. I think it's more quickly than some developed country. Some picture, this is a WINTI gathering with Professor Kato that we have organized during the WFNS course in Algiers in 2010, and we have shared our experience as Algerian neurosurgeon, female neurosurgeon, with Professor Kato and Dr. Saguntuli from New York, and they were really amazing about the quality of life of female neurosurgeons in our country. This is also a WIN meeting during the French Spoken Society Congress of Neurosurgery in Casablanca with Professor Naji Al-Abadi and many African and European trained young neurosurgeons. So I want to show you some women pioneers in Africa. Of course, I can't show you all, but some of them. Here is Dr. Aminat Kelani from Niger, and she is the only 1 female neurosurgeon in her country. She is doing a wonderful job. It was during the first CANS Congress in Algiers in 2014. This is Dr. Jamila Kafoufi Benderbouz. In fact, she is Algerian, but she is now working in Egypt, and she is the only one female neurosurgeon who is working in Cairo and in all the Egypt. Claire Karkazi is a young female from Rwanda. She was trained in the WFNS Reference Center in Rabat, and now she has finished her fellowship in Toronto with Professor Gentili, and she is returning in this July to her country. And I hope, and I'm sure that this young lady will do a very big job in her country. This is also Dr. Kauthar Rashid. She is from Tanzania, and she had beginning her training in Morocco, and now she is in China. Dr. Ketsa Rokotovao from Madagascar, I know that she will finish this year, and she is a very, very volunteer, very tenacious. She has a big tenacity, and she will do very, very big things in Madagascar, which is also a very poor country, but they are doing their best to have a good level of neurosurgery. And also Ghana, this young lady, she is now in 3rd years of residency in Accra. And this is Amina Diop from Mauritania. She is the first female resident of Mauritania, and she's doing her residency now in Dakar. And we have her in the Maghrebian Congress in February in Nouakchott, and she gave us a very interesting talk during the wing session. For North Africa, also, we have made a very big step, since in the same year we can have 2 female who were president of the national societies. And you can, of course, other pioneers in the world, you know them all very well, Professor Kato, Professor Lingfeng, who are very important example for all of us. Gail, of course, it was in Washington in 2015. Nelsie, you were with us in Seoul in 2013. And also Dr. Shelley Timmons, who is really a pioneer for the AANS, since she is now the president of AANS. She is the first female president of AANS, and congratulations, because I know that it is not so easy to do that. So the hope for Africa is the economic growth of African countries. It is very accelerated, and we know that Ethiopia was classified among the 5 most dynamic economies in the world. So this is a good news for Africa. I have asked many of my colleagues who are acting as neurosurgeons in Africa, and what is very interesting is that they feel most of them didn't feel a difference with their male colleagues, which is a very, very important thing. Other hope is the creation of CANS. And this creation of CANS has permitted to African neurosurgery to be recognized around the world. And we know that WFNS now is working a lot with CANS. We are looking for training for our young neurosurgeons, and we will officialize the WIN section of CANS next week in Abuja, and Nelsie will be with us. The handicap of women is, of course, we know that we are all caregivers. We have to take care of our parents, husband, children. But the question is, who is taking care of us? We are only caregivers, but nobody is take care of us. And also the problem is that the feeling of guilty, we are always feeling, I think many of us are feeling that this feeling of neglecting of their families. But I want to deliver a message for my colleagues from Africa and everywhere in the world that, and mainly for Africa, our duty as women doctors is to fight for girls' education in our daily practice. And I must say that when I'm in outpatient, of course, I see my patients, but I'm talking a lot with the mothers, because it is easier for them to discuss with a woman, and I'm always encouraging them to send their girls to school, to university. I'm doing that, and I'm also, I tell that to my female colleagues in my team. So this is our duty. Of course, everybody today said that we must encourage young female medical students to join neurosurgery. And I think that we don't have to feel guilty anymore. We have to do our job, to be ourselves. I mean, it is very important. I think that it's very important to precise that we don't have to be superwoman. We have to do our job. We have to deal with all our problems, but we don't have to prove that we are superwoman just only because we are women. I think I could show you that African female neurosurgery is running, and we have also to don't forget that we have many famous and strong women in Africa, particularly in the past and now also, such as the Queen of Saba, the Queens of Old Egypt, and Kaina, for example. So I want to say thank you. This is my female team in my department, and they're not all present because I have 4 other collaborators, female collaborators, but they were not on the photo because they were training in another department for a short period. In this team, I have professor, I have associated professor, and I have consultant and residents. And in my team, we are quite 50% of female and 50% of women. I think also that one thing is very important, that with patient, when we have patient, everything is possible and we can go through all the obstacles. And I want to finish to dedicate this presentation to my mother, who left me too soon, and she was my best supporter during all her life. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your excellent.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Professor Swad. It was an amazing talk, and I hope we can have more of your presentations in the upcoming symposiums. Any questions, comments from anyone?
Dr. Saud, like I'm Divya, so I contacted you through mails. So very happy to see you. So, and I'm really looking forward to discuss with you in the upcoming WFNS symposium. So it's nice to hear your talk. Thank you.
Thank you. Me too. I'm looking forward to see you in Kuala Lumpur.
Kuala Lumpur, yes, yeah, we will. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I'm very impressed, and congratulations for your achievement, because I think it's not easy to be the head of the department, especially in Africa. I was just a question about this 100 for Africa Professor Sam project. So can you explain that better?
The project is Professor Majid Sami is giving scholarships for young African neurosurgeon, and we have for the African developed countries of Africa, such as Morocco, Algeria, South Africa, Tunisia, and Egypt. We have to train these young students, African students, but the condition is that they will return in their country after the training. So this project is to train 100 African neurosurgeons. It's a very big project. I hope that we will finalize it.
So they will go to Germany to train, and then they will come back to Africa.
So before, in the past, they were going to Germany, to United States, to
okay, so anywhere,
many European countries, but they don't return to their country. And the condition to get the scholarship is that they must return in there, because the goal of this is to help Africa to get more neurosurgeons, and because you have seen the number, the very few neurosurgeons for this very big population. And I'm very proud because in my department, I have 2 young female residents, African, one from Tanzania and one from Guinea.
Well, congratulations. Thank you very much. Very inspiring presentation. Thank you.
Okay, so I think I have a presentation which was sent to me by Professor Cato. Unfortunately, she could not attend the symposium, and I would just take 5 minutes of yours to present that on her behalf. It's a message from her regarding the theme of the symposium, which revolves around equality for all. So I would just take 5 minutes and will share my screen and show you her presentation. Can you all see my presentation?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so this is a message for Women in Neurosurgery Forum from Professor Cato. Her theme was Equality First, and she has been a pioneer in the establishment of this Women in Neurosurgery Symposium. So we have Superwoman of today. We were all there on the panel, so I just made a quick presentation to thank all of you. And Professor Cato says that there are many wonderful women in neurosurgery who are fighting their battles, and it's not only in their home, but as well as on the work at the front. And we do not need another battle, which I feel is the most easily avoidable one, and that is gender inequality. Women in time have always been discriminated on the basis of gender through different eras of civilization, and the same is true for most women in neurosurgery. So we need to fight as one. And when Professor Cato says that as one, it's not just the women in neurosurgery, but also men including. So the day when every neurosurgeon, man or woman, decides he is not going to tolerate any kind of gender inequality, be it in terms of opportunities, chances to progress, or in terms of working hours, financial terms, is a day that we will lay a foundation for a future that will not only brighten for women in neurosurgery, but also for the men as a whole community. But we need to fight this. And she quotes that, as Neil Gaiman said, that I hope strong women out there aren't quiet and they don't go away, because when people attack you for speaking, the best way to drive them nuts is to smile and carry on speaking louder, more wisely, more intensely, and more articulately than ever. So this is a message from her, very brief and short, and I wanted to convey this on her behalf. I wish she could attend our next symposiums. Another point of attention here for you all is the Global Women in Neurosurgery Directory, which we are initiating under the supervision of Professor Cato. I am actually gathering the data from different countries. We are starting from Asia, but ultimately our goal is to spread it around the world. So it's a small website. We have just made a platform for online registrations. If you could just log on to the website and they just need to register. It's simple, it can be done from a smartphone. We just need to log in and we'll have a directory for our records for all the women in neurosurgery. So perhaps we can expand and we can present the consensus each year in every meeting or every symposium so as to know what is the statistics of women in neurosurgery around the world. So that is just a brief presentation from me. And one important announcement is that as the president of the Asian Society of Students and Residents, I'm organizing the first educational workshop, and it will be hosted in Nepal, November 29th and 30th. It is more directed towards medical students and young neurosurgeons to familiarize them with microsurgical skills and anastomosis, and they can present their posters, abstracts, and it will be a very, we can say it is a very, on a low level, not on a very high level, but it's mostly engaging the neurosurgical students, young neurosurgeons, to come and practice the hands-on surgical skills for 2 days workshop. So you're all welcome, and I would like you to spread this word among your colleagues and your students, and we'll be proud to host them. So that's it, and that's it for today. Thank you all for joining and taking out time from your busy schedules. And I think that we will continue this, and I hope that we have this every month. I'll try my best to do this every month. If not, then at least once, twice a month. Thank you.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Nice to meet you all.